बिटकॉइन। एक और बार बिटकॉइन ने अपना ऑल टाइम हाई हिट कर लिया है 125K। एंड ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? अगर आप देखेंगे यहाँ पर, दिस शोज कि पास्ट 1 वीक में हाउ मच मनी केम इन टू द बिटकॉइन ETF, all the Bitcoin ETFs in total. If you see here, like 985 million, 627 million, 675 million, 429 million, 518 million. So last week May, or the first week of this October, we have already, not we, the big investors, those who have actually a millions or billions, or those who are actually taking care of the people's investment, $3.2 billion USD स्पॉट बिटकॉइन ETF में आए हैं। इट्स जस्ट अबाउट सिंपल सप्लाई एंड डिमांड। अगर सप्लाई बहुत ज़्यादा होगी और डिमांड कम होगी तो प्राइस गिरेगा। अगर सप्लाई कम होगी किसी चीज़ की और डिमांड बहुत हाई होगी तो प्राइस बढ़ेगा। इज़ दैट सिंपल। एंड इफ़ यू कैन सी, बिटकॉइन की इस वक्त एक्सचेंजेस पर लोएस्ट सप्लाई है। और जब भी इसकी इन पास्ट 6 years, तो जब भी इसकी सप्लाई, इफ़ यू सी ऑन द चार्ट, कम होती है इन द येलो, आप ब्लैक में देखेंगे कि इसका प्राइस डेफिनेटली बढ़ता है। सो इट्स लोएस्ट सप्लाई में अगर इसका प्राइस अभी इट्स हिटिंग ऑल टाइम हाई ऑफ 125K, इट माइट क्रॉस 150K वेरी वेरी सून। गाइस, दिस चैनल में मेरा आइडिया इतना सा है कि आई प्रोवाइड यू ऑल द मेट्रिक्स, ऑल द इम्पॉर्टेंट डेटा, जिस बेसिस पे आप डिसाइड कर सकें वेयर मार्केट इज़ गोइंग एंड यू इन्वेस्ट। So please subscribe to this channel and send this to your friend. All right, moving on to the M2 money supply. M2 money supply is nothing but free money in the market, or cash, or something which can easily be converted to cash. But M2 money supply has the highest correlationship with Bitcoin, like 80%. So जब भी M2 money supply बढ़ती है तो Bitcoin का प्राइस हमेशा फॉलो करता है। As you can see, M2 money supply is increasing for US, China, Europe, and Japan. So we might expect that Bitcoin price will hit another all-time high. ETF का inflow बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ रहा है, as you can see 3.2 billion in last week. M2 मनी सप्लाई बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ रही है, सप्लाई बहुत कम है एंड डिमांड बहुत ज़्यादा है। एंड दिस माइट मीन्स कि लाइक इन 2013, 2017, 2021, and now 2025, we might see a huge surge in prices. Morgan Stanley, US का सबसे बड़ा एसेट मैनेजर, currently Morgan Stanley manages around 7.9 trillion US dollar assets. Until start of this year or previous years, Morgan Stanley has a strong stance because of their reputation. They don't allow crypto or anything for the clients. Now, as you can see, the things are changing so much for crypto that big, or the one of the biggest giants, is now recommending a conservative allocation to crypto. Fidelity. Fidelity एक और यूएस का सब बहुत बड़ा एसेट मैनेजर है, and they are also handling around 6.4 trillions, guys, trillions. And now what they are predicting कि Bitcoin का price not only can reach 1 million, which is something everyone is expecting by end of this decade, 2030, but now they are predicting it will reach 1 billion, which might come true. It sounds super, super, super stupid, but it might come true. If you see the Bitcoin chart, and it is expected in 2038, right? So which is like 13 years from now. If you go back just 10 years, okay? So if I take you back to 2025, July 2015, my bad. And if you see, the price was only $300. From 300 to more than 100K, that is a huge jump. If this happens again, which means Bitcoin price will hit $1 billion, that simple. And the reason is Bitcoin has a maximum supply of 21 million only. So if there is a continuous demand for Bitcoin and we only have 21 million Bitcoins, not even one Bitcoin everyone can get. There are more millionaires in the world at the moment than their total number of Bitcoin. So if that happens, you can expect the price to hit $1 billion. I know it sounds very, very stupid. We are not even reached million, but you never know, right? 10 years back, it was just 300 and now 100K. Gold. Gold is also increasing since last 1 year and it's almost increased more than 50%. And now the price is very close to hitting 4,000 US dollars per ounce. But why is it increasing? Well, there are so many reasons for price to increase, and some of them are like the trade tensions, geopolitical uncertainty, US debt, and the latest government shutdown in US. So all this could mean we might see a gold price hitting more than 4,000 US dollars very soon. Guys, listen to Tom Lee and what he thinks about Ethereum and why the price might hit between 10,000 and 15,000 US dollars. Let me play this clip for you.
So I think in the near term, our technical strategist Mark Newton thought we could be seeing 4,000 before the end of the month for Ethereum, but that's not where it peaks.
What's your price target for ETH as we head into the second half of the year?
Our price objectives at Fundstrat. So I wear a couple of hats. I'm the chairman of Bitmine, but I'm also the head of research at Fundstrat. And actually I have a third role, which is the CIO of Fundstrat Capital. But at Fundstrat, Sean Farrell is the head of digital assets research. And he's given me some informal sort of targets. One way he thinks of this is that if we look at Circle and its free cash multiple, which now is like 130 times EBITDA, on an equivalent basis, Ethereum's closer to 15,000. And that makes sense. I think the layer one, as you get into layer one, you should apply a higher multiple to like sort of theoretical usage because it's the same reason software companies get higher multiples than retailers, right? The more you're getting away from the customer and the more it's pure signal, you apply higher multiples to that business. And so I think in the near term, our technical strategist Mark Newton thought we could be seeing 4,000 before the end of the month for Ethereum, but that's not where it peaks. He just thinks that that's the first target. And then I think something, if Sean Farrell's math is correct, then I think 10 to 15,000 actually makes sense too.
By the end of the year?
It could be end of year, it could be sooner. I mean, it just really depends. But that wouldn't be the cap.
Why should you listen to Tom Lee? Well, Tom Lee is famous for his bold calls for the US market and for Bitcoin. He's not only working for Fundstrat, he's also the chairman of the Bitmine. And with this company, he is actually following what he believes. And they recently bought almost 10.9 billion of Ethereum. Now I'll play another video of Tom Lee back in 2019 when he said we should be allocating 1 to 2% of your portfolio when Bitcoin was just 5K. Listen to this, guys.
Well, it's just to put 1% or 2%.
Are you saying that? I get that if you're somebody who's got a lot of assets. I still think it's crazy. But for a retail investor, somebody who's saving for retirement and putting that aside, that seems crazy to me.
Well, it's basically the idea that you can afford to lose 1% if that's 1% of your portfolio.
That's crazy. You might as well throw it away on high fees to an investor, to an average like this. You're taking a flyer on that. You don't know where it's going to go or what's going to happen.
Well, in a way, that's right, Becky. That for the majority of people, it's 1% is like a small risk bet. But Bitcoin makes all of its gains in 10 days in a year. I think this is an example that if you exclude the 10 best days, Bitcoin loses 25% a year. So you got to essentially hold it or hodl it, as they say, to really capture the gains.
Moving on to the gold and Ethereum chart. And it looks fairly similar. And if this works out And what Tom Lee has predicted, we could see at least 15,000 Ethereum. It is believed that the US stock market like Nasdaq will move on chain, and Solana might be the technology used for that. One of the reason is Solana is way faster than Ethereum. And not only that, there are a lot of other reasons. And let's see what Matt Hougan, the CIO of Bitwise, think why Solana has exciting time ahead.
Look, I think Solana is the new Wall Street. When you talk to this audience, for them, things like Bitcoin are very ephemeral, hard to get their hands around. But they see what's happening on the stablecoin and tokenization space, and they know that that's going to be enormously significant. Really important people are saying that stablecoins will reinvent payments and tokenization will reinvent stock, bond, commodity, and real estate markets. The head of the SEC is saying that. The head of the Bank of England is saying that. The CEO of BlackRock is saying it. People can imagine that happening. And then they want to ask, how do they invest? And when they look how to invest, the answer is in the blockchain space. And then when they evaluate the different blockchain, the speed, the throughput, the finality of Solana makes it seem extraordinarily attractive. You can tell them things like Solana literally gets to finality in the blink of an eye, 400 microseconds going to 150 microseconds. That makes sense to them. That's how they like to trade. So this story is really resonant, and I think you'll see substantial flows.
Guys, the future is gonna be multi-chain. We won't have one chain जो सब चीज करे. Like Bitcoin is seen as digital gold. Ethereum can do multiple things, but if we talk about stable coins, most of the stable coins are on Ethereum. Solana is faster. Then we have Cardano, Hyperliquid, Tron. There are so many chains. We don't know which one will be used for what. So please let me know on the comments which you think will be the chosen one for the Nasdaq or US stock market. Polkadot. Is there any fan of Polkadot in our audience? Now this chart shows that how many transactions per second a Visa can do. It is just 7.4K. But Polkadot can do 143 transactions, 143K transactions per second. On the other hand, Ethereum can only do 62. Bitcoin can only do 13. Seems like Polkadot can be one of those contenders for moving the share market to on-chain. Moving on to the dot chart, it looks very, very similar to the past, and it might perform the same in the Q4 that it has done in 2020 and 2017. And we might expect, if that play out, the price might go from $4.2 to $11. That's almost 3x. We'll see how it goes. Now, thank you everyone. If you see value, please subscribe.